Brian Noble, what are your thoughts and reflections as Bradford are forced to really tough it out against Doncaster this evening?
Well, it's good that we did. I think we've been in situations like that before this season and not come the right side of the result. I think we did enough to deserve the win. We certainly know how to make things difficult. Full praise to Doncaster, they came huge effort from them. Troubled us in a lot of areas, but I think our defensive solidity, other than on one occasion, was the difference between the teams. And I thought our offensive progress towards the back of the game just showed enough. But yeah, it was one of those games that was slow, if I can use the right expression. And we needed to speed the game up and didn't do it enough. We needed to take actions ourselves because we weren't getting help from anywhere else. So it's a good lesson. The team that came to slow a game down and kick sidelines and compete did exactly that. And it just it was a frustrating evening, and our players acted in a frustrating way.
What are your thoughts on how Doncaster applied themselves, Brian? Because like you say, Richard Orme said pre-match they were going to come here swinging, batting and kicking, and they certainly did that.
Well, Doncaster came here swinging, batting and kicking, and it's a great lesson that coming towards playoff football, this is going to happen. Teams are aggressive and dangerous, and maybe at the start we didn't reflect on that, but I can only say that we must have swung and batted and kicked just a little bit better than them in the end.
What did you say at half time? Because clearly, like you say, there was certainly some good performance indicators, that goal line defence to just restrict Doncaster to one score.
The actions were for us to take. We weren't getting any help in relation to the ruck speed, so we had to generate some ruck speed to get down to the end of the field. I still think we started the set now terribly, but we've got some great lessons in this game, and we can talk about it in a win. I'm again giving full credit to Doncaster, but I want to give full credit to our team as well, that they found a way to get to the end of the field and win with some decent scores as well.
Clearly you didn't plan to start similar to last week, Brian, trailing by 8 points to 0. The fact that you have had to chase the game for a third week in a row now, perhaps that's at the back of players' minds, knowing that they've got confidence to back themselves to wrestle that momentum away from the opposition and get on top and ultimately get home with 2 points.
Well, I'd rather they weren't in that position, but the reality is sometimes you have to do that in a game of rugby league. The opposition have a say in what's happening. We contributed to that. It's not the first time it's happened this year, but I think the resolve in this team and the ability to do the right things at the right time to cause some problems for the opposition was there to see. I thought Doncaster were great, but I have to say that we were greater in the effort areas in the end.
How important was that Joe Keys try with just moments to go before the half-time hooter?
Well, Matty G scored a try. It was a perfectly good try and it was disallowed. So we weren't not causing Doncaster problems, but that score gave us a lift. I think the players knew that we were slightly off it in the first stanza. And they knew what to do. There's some kid cookies in there, but we can't keep damaging ourselves the way that we do. And I'm saying that in an 18-12 win that I've experienced and our fans have experienced on many other given days with the effort that Doncaster will put in, we might not have come out on the right side of the result, and we have.
You've mentioned Matty G's disallowed try. Have you had a chance to view it, Brian?
Yes, good try.
And obviously Joe Keys, moments after that, he had one disallowed where it looks like Mitch Suter is looking at the ball and there's a collision.
Well, the referee has adjudicated that he's pushed into a Doncaster player, and if you look at it, I think it's slightly unfair.
I'm going to say I had Kieran Gill alongside me in the commentary box, and he was pretty much livid. He felt that both those should have been given.
So do I, but it's not going to do me any good if I ring anybody up. So we're the right side of an 18-12 scoreline, and yeah, we created a couple of opportunities. I think our game management was a lot better towards the back end, other than not dropping a goal when we should have done. You know, we got a 4 pass and play 3. So those are frustrating things, but we can sit in the changing room there and we've had a discussion about, you know, how much better we all need to be, and that's a good thing.
Does it feel like the get out of jail card's being used tonight, Brian?
No, I think that's the pressure of the scoreboard, and that's the pressure of the league situation, and that's the pressure. That's what everybody else thinks. I was pretty confident we'd come back into it in the second half. The pressure we put upon ourselves is we didn't play the way that we wanted to against a vigorous, determined team. You know, well, a lot of good players themselves. You know, look at their roster. So, you know, to come out the right side of it when you've been a bit scruffy is fantastic.
Because clearly, like you've highlighted, when Mitch Suter was back on around the hour mark alongside Chris Hill and Michael Lawrence, you did win the collisions, you did up the intensity of that ruck speed, and that ultimately broke the camel's back and saw Wonga Blake and Jayden Okunbor go back to back.
Yeah, the first half was so frustrating in that respect. You know, a slow game, and the players are not completely responsible for what's going on, but you have to adjust and find some ruck speed yourself, and I think they did that. You know, they found a way to move the chains forward and get us into scoring positions. And Doncaster kept in it. You know, they got a sideline kick that when we're just piling the pressure on and they get a sideline kick and get the ball back, their momentum changes. But in the main, we defended our chalk really well.
Is there, I presume, Brian, when you do have the review in the coming days, lessons of smartness and composure, like you say? It's 18-12. I think there were 3 or 4 opportunities to firmly put a nail in the coffin and secure the points, but you know, the drop goal just never come.
Yeah, but it's the nature of this competition. The championships was a wonderful competition. You know, you go down to 6 and 7 and teams 8, and you've got to be on your mettle. You've got to really show up and be ready. And if I've got a slight criticism for our teams, were we ready at the start? I'm not sure. It's a question that we'll have to discuss between us. But you know, they certainly had to dig deep tonight, and everybody will be giving the plaudits to Doncaster for how well they dug deep. Well, we have to dig a little bit deeper to get the win, and we did.
Just on Chris Hill, when he came back on for his second stint, Brian, certainly looked like he really did tip that momentum in your favour with not just the running game, but some very, very cute offloads.
Gosh, he's a good player. And it was his debut, and he's only had 1 training session with us, and to have so much impact after that, I think is a reflection on him. I've asked him to play with a smile on his face. He's been through the trials and tribulations of Salford, as a lot of players have, and so it's important that we embrace what he can do. I think we can learn to play with him, and we'll get better because of that. But he should be happy with what he's done tonight.
I don't want this to come across as a negative or a criticism, Brian, but certainly there were times in that game where Chris Hill's looking for an offload and there's no one there. Is that what you mean by learning to play with him, knowing that Chris is going to have that ability to do that?
Yeah, and I think we'll grow as a team with that ability.
On George Tafua, I don't think he's played for 153 days and 6 months. Are you pleased with his contribution and how he's come through?
Absolutely thrilled to not play for 20 weeks, 18 weeks, and not have a competitive hit out either in the reserves or wherever we could get him a game, and to jump in, and I'm sure he'll sleep for a couple of days on the back of that one.
Has everybody come through unscathed, no injury concerns?
Not that I'm aware of. I don't think so. I think Joe Key's got a knock to his elbow. I think that's about it. Ronan Michael's got a cut to the lip that doesn't affect his looks, so he'll be alright.
I'm just kind of guessing, Brian, we referenced on Wednesday at the press conference a little bit on this, that, you know, getting a win tonight, 4 on the bounce, good momentum now, you've got the week off, you can refresh and recharge before the final 4 games, which starts a fortnight tonight at Sheffield.
We've got a reasonably tough run in. I'm looking forward to it. I was kind of hoping that we'd get over the line tonight, not hoping it, you know, I'm not expecting, but I think in where we've been, and we can build a block of 4 games that can set us up for the playoffs. I think we need to be on it. I thought against Oldham and against Halifax we were on it, and if I've been uber critical tonight, I don't think we were quite on it as much as we were there, but that's for all of us to to take a note on this one and understand that nobody's going to come and give you anything. You know, the 2 away games, Sheffield and London to come, are going to be tough cookies to crack. And then we've got Toulouse and Featherstone, and they're standalone fixtures, aren't they? I'm confident we'll be ready for those.
I know some of the players are going to go away on holiday during this fortnight break. We've seen Chris Hill come in. I presume, Brian, you're still going to be working hard behind the scenes to strengthen. Is that still your thoughts?
Oh yes. Some of us don't get a day off.
Is it fair to say, and this is probably for the fans listening, watching, but 2 week tonight running out at Sheffield, they can probably expect some new faces?
Only if the new faces, they go by the same criteria, are going to improve the team. I won't bring anybody in that's not better or as good as what we've got, and that's always got to be the criteria. I'm seeing a lot of buys and transfers, and is it panic? I don't know. You'd have to ask the people that are doing those things. I think there has to be a measurement for who you bring in and how you bring them in.
Not only when you've gone sort of for back-to-back and good wins, the momentum is probably there to want to keep playing, but given that you do have the last 4 games, is now actually a good time in a way to have that bye week and a bit of time to
I
refresh
think
your
so.
bodies?
I think is there an element of tiredness and fatigue? Players won't tell you that, and staff won't tell you that, but I think it's come at a good time for us. I think we've built a little bit of momentum. I think we understand when we do something well, we're really good, and I think we can reinforce those messages in the next couple of weeks leading up to Sheffield.
And how do you use that break to
Well,
sort
you
of
give
your
them
advantage to get the best out of the players for the
Well, what
last
I would
4
do
games?
is give them a week off. If I was in charge, I'd give them a week off from tonight and bring them back in next weekend. We're going to do that. So it's important that I think they go away and they don't think anything about rugby league. They don't worry about rugby league. I'll send them a message so that I'll ruin wherever they're going or whatever they're doing. Some are staying at home. And I think it's important that they refresh their brains, because a lot of this is mental fatigue. You know, when you get to this time of the year, that especially when you're a top competitor, you know, you're in the mix. You know that everybody looks at the league ladders and looks at what the opposition are doing and what they're not doing. Well, I think it's just a great opportunity to recharge your batteries and get some juice in there.
Yeah, and tonight's been the last of this block of 5
Yeah.
Friday night games. You touched on it
I
last
thought they
week,
were
that
good. They've been good,
you've really enjoyed them.
I think so. I think the crowd have enjoyed it as well.
Is it something you'd like to see the club sort of continue with going forward?
If it
and
works,
have more Friday night games.
I like the fireworks. I think they're good. I like the dancers. I like it's it's a small taster. I think we do a really good job here when we try, and I think Friday nights have been, if you ask me, they've been a success.
How's your attendance compare on Fridays compared to Sunday?
No idea.
Right.
But the atmosphere is better. The noise is good. Certainly against Halifax last week, it was bouncing. Doncaster, I don't think brought more than a handful of fans tonight, but our fans were noisy and vibrant and making good noises. I think they turned up in numbers again. We can only judge it that way. I think they've been a roaring success, Bill. Well, we've got to keep sending the message that this run in the last 4 games, and especially 2 at home, we need all of our fans. If you've been hiding in the cobwebs and not coming back from where you've ever been, we need the help of your support.